What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Those who are new, my name is James and I've been building an app to fix my finances again and just taking y'all through that journey. So this video is just going to be me kind of going through some updates for the app, a lot of design, database, and API work that got done. So I'm going to show you guys all that. But I lost the real intro to this video. So you're about to see me switch clothes and pick up from where I left off. Yeah, it is what it is. Cool, so here's what we got. Remember, in this app, there'll be two ways of budgeting. We can do paycheck to paycheck or pay period budgeting, and then we can do monthly. So this demo would be for monthly, but it'll be the same view, except up here at the top, instead of saying April, it would say whatever the dates are for your pay period, like April 1st to April 15th, okay? I just wanted a big, easy way to see the remaining amount of money, and then you can see your income, total, you can see your expenses, these are recurring, and then you can see a breakdown of categories. At first, if for any of those you who follow me for Finch, you know that I had all of this in one. That wasn't as friendly because you couldn't really make budgets. It was just like, here's one big bucket of all your spending. So this will allow you to make category budgets. So here we go, we got eating out and then the totals, how much you have left for that budget. You can add an item here and shopping and so on. I'm gonna add another plus button which will allow you to add income, expense, whatever, everything. So like, again, simple. You can expand these. So for example, when you expand expenses, you see it's broken down into categories as well. No goals on the expense budget. Let me know in the comments if you think you should be able to have a goal for expenses, but I didn't really think that made sense. So this is just literally that. It's just, here are all your expenses for that time period, whether it's the month or the pay period. Cool. And then also, you can do the same for income. You can expand it. And then how does it work to add a transaction? So the thought is, if you add here, it would be quick add where you just the name and the, just the name and the amount. And then we would we would guess the date and the category based off of when you add it and where. But if you do the add, where I'm gonna add that button, who knows where, then it will open up this modal where you can choose what it is. Is it an expense? What's the name of it? The type, the category, is it recurring or not? And then if you choose that it's recurring, you choose the next transaction date. So that's what we're going with for the design. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I wanted something quick and simple, so I think I accomplished that. I also do like the way it looks. I'm not gonna lie, all my apps are starting to look kind of the same to me. So yeah, I'm just used to it. That was the design. The next thing I worked on, again, was the schema. And I went back and forth a lot with ChatGPT on this about just the best way to structure this schema. And the biggest issue for me was the recurring. I didn't know if I should have a table that stored all the recurring events, like the income, expenses, and just let them live in that table and then reference them based off of some query that figures out if they're in that time period. For example, my paycheck comes in on the 1st. So if I'm on the pay period of the 1st to the 15th, then I should be able to query that table, figure out that it's in that time period, and then show it as income for that pay period. Or if I should actually create a transaction with the date and then just pull from the transactions table to show all the transactions for whatever time period. There were some trade-offs, and I went with the approach of actually creating the transaction for every bill, every income, and everything that the user adds. And then the user's view is literally looking at the transaction table for a date range. Why did I go with that approach? Main reason was because this would allow users to edit bills. For example, let's say your phone bill is more expensive this month. This would allow you to go and change just that instance of the phone bill without affecting all of the other recurring events. So that's the main reason I did that. That way, and then I just figured it'd make maybe like long-term reporting easier. Like I want to add chat into this as well. So if all the transaction data lives in one, and then the recurring items table is just for that, just for recurring items, I thought it made more sense. So I'm gonna show you the schema real quick. I know this video has been super technical, but that's like I said, I'm sharing with you guys the whole journey, as slow as it is this time. So let me start the screen recording. Boop. All right, so we have a couple enums for frequency of pay period, item type, which will be income or expense, and then a transaction type, which is income, recurring, safe to spend, or savings. And then we have a simple users table, and I'm using Postgres for this, by the way. Postgres, I'm gonna be doing it on Supabase just because I've worked with it a lot and it's easy to get set up. No other reason. Okay, and then I have a user preferences table. This is where the user will set their budgeting style and if they finish the onboarding. Remember, I'm gonna have an onboarding where the user, once they sign up, will guide them through setting up their first budget. Okay, then this isn't gonna be used yet, but this is the coach settings, you know, figuring out like how we want the AI persona to be. Okay, now we get down to pay periods. So pay periods table will have a start date, an end date, the budgeting style. Is it a paycheck or is it monthly budgeting? And if it's auto-generated, just because some job will create these. Another thing that I thought went back and forth on was, should the pay period actually, do we even need a pay period to exist in the table, right? This could be something just on the front end. And then that way, if it lived on the front end, the user could change it anytime they wanted, and then we could have like historical data because it would all be tied to the SQL query. They wouldn't be living in the database. I went against that approach just for ease of, like, again, retrieving data with chat, and I don't know. I can't remember the exact trade-offs at this moment because it's been a while, but this is the approach I went with, and I'm tying every transaction with a pay period. And oh, here's another reason I did that. Okay, I just remembered. I went with this approach also because I wanted to do those category goals, and I wanted those goals to be able to be changeable depending on the pay period. For example, maybe this pay period or this month, I want to spend $300 on food, but next month, maybe I'm going on vacation and I want to up that budget. If I don't have a pay period to be able to tie the goal to, or the budget goal to, then there's no way for me to have like different goals for different time periods. So that's the reason I went with storing the pay period instead of just having it be front-end logic. Cool. So then we have some categories: name, description, color. We might not even use color in the beginning. And then we get to recurring items. Again, item type, we have one table for income and one table for expense. They shared, and they'll just be differentiated by the item type. The label, amount, I'm storing everything in cents. I forget the exact reason why. I know it'll make converting easier, but I don't remember exactly why. If I remember, I'll post it in the comments. The frequency of the recurring item, again, that will be an enum, just weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, twice a month. Twice a month and bi-weekly are different, by the way. And the start date. This is like the next bill date. For example, let's say it's April 15th and I'm inputting my paycheck, which comes on the 1st. Then I'll say like my next date is the May 1st. And then like that's when it will kick off. So transactions, again, we'll have the user ID, the pay period ID, the linked item ID, which will reference the recurring items table, the amount, the label, the category ID, and the transaction type, whether it's recurring. Remember, we're creating a transaction for every income, expense, and spending. So that's why we need this. And then this is the category goals, again, tied to a pay period, what category, and then what's the limit. So that's the whole schema. Now, what I'm next gonna do is I'm gonna build this out using Python for the API. I'm not too familiar with Python, but I wanna use AI for this. And I just don't wanna be boxed in to a language or framework that doesn't have good AI support. Python, everything's in Python. So I figured I'd go down that route. This video is getting super long right now, but I'm just gonna keep diving in. The next thing I'll show you guys is the API. Cool. So digging into Python, I was trying to figure out what would be the best way to build this, like what API I should use. Yeah, so I went with Fast API. I've used it before for Finch in the beginning, and it's easy to get set up, it's quick. So, and it gives you like a nice Swagger page. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Swagger, but it's like API documentation. So I like using that because it kind of makes it easy to test. So yeah, so that's what you see here. So you can see here are all my endpoints. We have create user, get user specifically. Some of these we won't need. Create category, get category, update category, delete, recurring items, pay periods, transactions, category goals, and then these are some test ones that I wrote. But yeah, cool. Okay, so over here you can see the database, and we have all of our tables here. Users, see I created a test user here, james@gmail.com, and yeah, that's really it. Then we can go here. Let's give it some more room here. So then here we have budgeting style, paycheck, onboarding complete, boom. Let's go to categories. So we created some dummy categories here: housing, food, utilities, gifts, entertainment, and a description that I don't think we're gonna use, to be honest, but it's there. And then a color. I like having category colors because it adds some personalization and then gives the user some kind of, I don't know, you make it look how you want to look. I'm actually most likely going to add a category icon too, but for now, F it. Category goals, again, pay period, category ID, the limit, and coach settings. I left that blank because I'm not even there yet. Then I created some pay periods. So we see we have the start date, and then we have the end date, and I'm doing the paycheck budgeting style now. Auto-generated, this doesn't matter right now. And I created some recurring items as well, some fake numbers here. So we've got paychecks, we've got rent, we've got phone, and we've got Spotify. Bi-weekly, monthly with some dates in there. Some of them are tied to categories, transactions. And as you can see, the linked item ID, these are referenced for the recurring items. Normal transactions will not have a linked item ID. Only transactions that are linked to the recurring items table. And the reason I did that is because let's say your phone bill goes up, not just for this month, but all your phone bills. If you change the reference to your phone bill and I see that there's a linked item ID, I can ask the user, do you want to change all of your future phone bills or just this one? And yeah, this is just a label and the type, income, recurring, safe to spend. Safe to spend is just what I'm calling any transaction that the user spends. But yeah, so that's it, guys. Honestly, this video turned out way longer than I thought it was gonna be. I wanted this to be a quick update, and I planned on doing some coding tonight to build out the UI now that I have the API and I've had some data created. But I guess now I'm just gonna spend the rest of this night editing this video. So yeah, next video, we're finally getting into it. I'm gonna start building out the UI. I am not worrying about authentication right now. I've been doing some research on that as well, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just gonna keep using this and all the data is just gonna be mine. So yeah, that's gonna be another bag of worms to open up with this. Yeah, keep following along. Some of these videos will be different formats. Some will be vlog style, some will be like this, super technical. Let me know what you guys like. This video will probably get like 10 views because it's so long and technical, but I appreciate the 10 of you. Peace. I just realized I got a big forehead. Look at that thing.